It was a Monday morning at the Grand Royal Hotel in downtown Atlanta, a place where the smell of fresh coffee mixed with polished marble and soft jazz music in the lobby. Guests moved in and out, some rushing to meetings, others lingering by the grand staircase that sparkled under the chandelier light. Among them was Martha Johnson, a black woman in her mid-50s. She had worked at the hotel for nearly 20 years. Her hair was neatly tied back under a navy blue maid's cap, her uniform freshly pressed, and her badge slightly worn from years of service. Her brown eyes carried both warmth and quiet exhaustion, the kind that comes from giving your best every day, even when few notice. She took pride in her work. The Grand Royal had been her second home since her son went off to college 15 years ago. She had started as a laundry attendant, then moved up to the housekeeping floor lead. Her coworkers respected her, though most of the new management barely knew her name. That changed the day Daniel Gray, a young white man in his early 30s, took over as hotel manager. He was ambitious, stylish, and sharp-tongued, the kind of person who loved to remind others who was in charge. On his first morning, he spotted Martha wiping down the marble counter at the front desk. "Excuse me," he said curtly, "that's not your area. Guests will think we don't have standards." Martha looked up, startled but calm. "I'm just helping out, sir. The staff at the front desk were busy with check-ins." Daniel's tone hardened. "Next time, stick to your floor. We run a 5-star establishment, not a community center." A few guests looked over. Martha felt a hot flush rise to her cheeks, but she simply nodded. "Yes, sir." The next few weeks were tense. Daniel made small but cutting remarks, correcting her in front of others, moving her to less visible areas, even assigning her extra shifts. The other maids whispered that he had it out for her, but Martha never complained. She needed the job. Her husband had passed away years ago, and she lived alone now. Then one morning, everything changed. The hotel was buzzing with excitement. A new CEO was scheduled to arrive. Rumor had it he was young, brilliant, and personally chosen by the board to modernize the hotel's image. Staff polished every corner, preparing for inspection. Martha was assigned to the lobby again, wiping the glass doors and arranging flowers. Daniel came striding through with his usual swagger, barking orders. "Let's move, people. I want this place spotless, no mistakes today." When he saw Martha near the entrance, he frowned. "You again," he said sharply. "Why are you out front? I told you to stay in the back." Martha straightened, holding her cleaning rag. "Housekeeping was asked to make sure the lobby looked perfect, sir." Daniel's voice grew louder. "Perfect, with you leaning on the counter like you own the place. This isn't your home, Martha. Stay out of sight when the CEO arrives." Her lips parted in quiet disbelief. A few guests looked uncomfortable, but no one said a word. Before she could respond, the glass doors swung open. A tall black man in his mid-30s stepped inside, wearing a sleek gray suit. His presence commanded attention, confident but humble, with kind eyes that scanned the room warmly. Daniel immediately straightened his tie and stepped forward. "Good morning, sir. You must be Mr. Carter, our new CEO. Welcome to the Grand Royal." The man smiled politely, then glanced around, his gaze landing on Martha. His expression froze. For a brief moment, he looked as though he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Then he walked straight past Daniel and stopped in front of her. "Mom," he said quietly. The entire lobby went silent. The sound of the jazz music in the background seemed to fade. Daniel blinked. I'm sorry, sir, did you say?" The CEO, David Carter, smiled and nodded. "Yes, Martha Johnson is my mother." Martha's hand trembled as she covered her mouth, tears welling up in her eyes. She hadn't seen her son in years. He had moved away to build his career after college, and though they spoke often on the phone, she never expected him to walk through those doors as her boss. David turned to the stunned manager. "You said something about standards." His voice was calm but carried a quiet power. Daniel's face went pale. "Sir, I didn't realize." David raised a hand gently. "You didn't need to realize. You just needed to respect." He turned back to his mother and smiled. "You've been keeping this place beautiful all these years, haven't you?" Martha wiped her eyes and whispered, "Just doing my job, baby." David chuckled softly and hugged her right there in the lobby. Guests began clapping quietly. Even the front desk clerk smiled through tears. After that day, everything changed. Daniel was transferred to another branch after multiple complaints from staff. David introduced new policies at the hotel, raising wages, improving working conditions, and creating diversity training for management. But for Martha, none of that mattered as much as the moment her son looked at her with pride and called her mom in front of everyone. She kept working at the hotel for another year before retiring. On her last day, the staff gathered to surprise her with a farewell ceremony. A plaque was placed in the lobby reading, "In honor of Martha Johnson, who served this place with grace, pride, and heart." She smiled through tears as David handed her the plaque himself. "You taught me everything I know about respect," he said. And that day, for the first time in a long time, Martha truly felt seen. Moral: never judge someone by the uniform they wear. Respect is not given by titles, it's earned by the heart.